Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Revisiting Disney. This is the series where you guys pick an attraction or a part of the park, and I play Imagineer for a day and just sort of talk about what I would do to revamp that, or replace it, or refurbish it. Today's an interesting pick. I think a couple of people have mentioned doing it, but it's actually surprising to me that I haven't sooner, because this was actually one of the attractions that I had such strong feelings about that it actually it sort of inspired the series altogether, and I guess I just never got around to producing the video, and that is here in Future World and Epcot, and it is Innoventions. There's Innoventions West and East. Now, if you'd like to know the history of Innoventions, or Communicore when it was called that, I have a video with the history that you can watch. But, you know, the short version of it is, I guess today you could say it's a bunch of areas with these little, I don't know, booths or exhibits that I guess are supposed to teach you something about the future and technology, or just, I guess it's hard to describe what Innoventions in one short sentence is supposed to be, because I feel like that's part of what's gone off course with it, is it doesn't have a very clear message anymore. And I feel like there's such an obvious answer to what you could do to Innoventions to sort of shoot some life into it, that I'm just surprised it's never happened. And let's turn it into sort of like a miniature 24/7 tech exhibit, like a tech expo. You know, the one that comes to mind most as an example is CES, right? It's the Consumer Electronics Show. Used to be twice a year back in the day. It's once a year now. And it's when all of the major electronics companies get together to sort of show off all of the new things that they're working on, and all of the new things that are coming to the consumer world, you know, within a matter of years. Now, this is obviously a big show, an expensive show, happens once a year, not the sort of thing you could replicate on a 24/7 basis, but I feel like Innoventions would be a great place to have almost like a miniature version of it, like a scaled back version. You know, a big tenet of what Epcot was supposed to be back when it was a city was this place, the city of the future, where companies were always outfitting these homes with like the latest in technology, so that people visiting could sort of see, you know, what these companies were going to have to offer in the future. Now, I've made comments in the past where I just don't think that's plausible today, because I think, you know, Apple knows what their next iPhone is going to be, but we're not going to know until they decide to show us, and that's going to be, you know, right before it comes out. But I think there are plenty of tech companies that are willing to show off all of this tech that they're working on. Maybe not give up all their secrets, but show off what might be coming to stores, you know, within the next year. And I think that's exactly what Innoventions would be great for, because, you know, part of what makes people excited about the future is the immediate future. It's the thought of what they're going to be able to do within a certain or reasonable amount of time. You know, yes, we get excited for one day people living in space or traveling in space, but I could say with pretty good certainty that I'm not going to travel in space in the next 1, 2, 5, maybe even 10 years. That said, I'm still excited for it, but what would really get me excited about for the future are stuff that I, you know, feel is within my grasp. Personally speaking, you know, I think back to the Oculus Rift. There's something that I knew would be something that I'd be able to hold in my hands and use within a certain amount of time, and I got super excited for it. I think having a place in Epcot where people can go and see this new and weird and experimental technology that they have a chance of not only seeing and using within, you know, their lifetime, but within, you know, a reasonable amount of time would be really cool and exciting. On top of that, you know, you're getting sponsorships from all of these companies who are also benefiting, because they get, you know, a 24/7 platform. I guess not 24/7 because the park's closed, but they're getting a year-round platform to show off this new technology, which, you know, in today's data-driven world is a very important thing, that you could get user feedback. You know, all they have to do is send a representative there and watch people for a week use their new, you know, TV, and that'll have such valuable information and insight as to like what they might need to change for that TV before they release it. So, you know, there's value on the company's end. There's value on Disney's end, because, you know, one, you can have these companies paying to show off all this stuff. But two, it sort of gives a unified theme to Innoventions, and it sort of brings it back on track to not just, what I feel like Innoventions was trying to be in the past, but, it brings it back on track to what Epcot wanted to originally be. And I think the trade-off we had was, Epcot as a city wasn't going to work, but Disney at least took a lot of those ideas and tried to integrate them into the parks as much as possible, sometimes very much behind the scenes. And so I think it would be a nice sort of, homage to Walt's dream of Epcot to make Innoventions that sort of, hub of technology. And to one more a point of that, the idea of it being almost like World Showcase was essentially supposed to be a perpetual World's Fair. Well, that sort of World's Fair concept, if you think back to like the New York World's Fair in the 60s, it wasn't just country pavilions showing off their country to teach people their culture. It was very much about showing off new technology. All of these companies were showing off their new cars and their new appliances, and why not embrace that spirit through Innoventions as well and put it in there? And I don't know, that's just sort of what I think they should do with Innoventions. It's an area of the park that I used to really love, but now I find myself just sort of walking through and also just being very confused as to what I'm supposed to be doing there. You've got the House of the Future, you've got this roller coaster thing, you've got a thing on recycling. It just seems so thrown together, like they have the space and they don't know what to do with it. And I know what to do with it, so please, Disney, go do the things that I just said, because that would make me the happiest person on Earth. If you have thoughts on this idea, whether you think it's a great idea or an awful idea, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. I would also love to hear if you have an idea for another attraction you'd like me to revisit. I like to pick the ones that you all want to see revisited. You could also let me know on Twitter. I'm at RobPlays. I would like to thank you all for watching. Whatever you're doing this week, make the most of it because it makes it that much better. I'd like to thank my little crew here. I'm streaming pretty early in the morning, so there's not a whole lot of people on, but I'd like to thank them for chilling with me at Innoventions. Anyway, I'll see you all next time for the next episode of Revisiting Disney. Bye, everybody.